Welcome back, biologist. In this screencast, we'll finish learning about nutrition, metabolism, and enzymes, and finish Chapter 4. An enzyme is defined as a protein that speeds up a chemical reaction. In chemistry, you may have learned about catalysts. Enzymes are an example of a catalyst. Enzymes are very specific about what molecules they will interact with. The target of an enzyme in which it will bind and act upon is called the substrate. Substrates are the reactants or the starting materials in a chemical reaction. Every enzyme has an active site. This is the part of an enzyme that binds to the target molecule, called the substrate. For example, if an enzyme breaks down table sugar, or sucrose, then sucrose would be considered the substrate and would have a location on the enzyme that it binds to, called the active site. Enzymes are important because they engage in catalysis. This is the process of speeding up a chemical reaction. Without enzymes, chemical reactions would happen too slowly to keep us alive. Every chemical reaction requires some energy to get started. This is called activation energy. For example, if you're going to start a fire, you need some spark or flame for the fire to get started. The spark or flame provides the activation energy. Enzymes or other catalysts lower the activation energy so reactions can start and therefore finish faster. Before we continue talking about enzymes, let's talk about one more nutrient our bodies need. These are micronutrients. Micronutrients are nutrients, namely vitamins and minerals, that organisms must ingest in small amounts to maintain health. Micronutrients are required by organisms for normal growth, reproduction, and tissue maintenance. Examples of micronutrients include calcium, iron, potassium, and sodium. This infographic from your textbook shows how they help, the foods that contain them, and the problems that can arise when we ingest too much or too little of them. When we ingest minerals, they act as what we call cofactors in the body. Minerals are inorganic micronutrients required to activate an enzyme, like zinc, copper, and iron. Remember, minerals are always inorganic. When we ingest vitamins, they act as what we call coenzymes in the body. Vitamins are small organic molecules that are required to activate enzymes. There are 13 vitamins that our bodies need, including vitamins A, D, E, K, C, and the B vitamins. Remember, vitamins are always organic molecules. Remember, the minerals that help enzymes function are called cofactors, and the vitamins that help enzymes function are called coenzymes. Micronutrients can serve other purposes as well, like the calcium that helps us build our bones, or the vitamin A that helps our vision. Peanut Butter Project RUTFs also contain minerals and vitamins. Because they are a complete food that contains macronutrients, essential nutrients, and micronutrients, 95% of hospitalized children who received peanut butter-based RUTFs recovered from malnutrition. The photos below show a child in Malawi before and after being treated with RUTFs. This infographic from your textbook shows the effectiveness of peanut butter-based RUTFs and the individual components of them. Because we don't normally eat RUTFs, most nutritionists recommend that fruits, vegetables, and whole grains make up the largest portion of our diet. A balanced diet will contain all the macronutrients, essential nutrients, and micronutrients needed to lead a healthy life. In this last honors section, we're going to go into a little bit more depth about how enzymes work. Most enzymes are proteins. Enzymes are specific for the chemical reactions they will catalyze or accelerate. Enzymes are not consumed in a chemical reaction and are therefore reusable. Many enzyme names end in ASE. For example, sucrase, lactase, and maltase are all examples of enzymes. Enzymes work by weakening bonds, which lowers the activation energy of a reaction. I like to think of a chemical reaction as a roller coaster ride that begins with a big hill. After you climb to the top of the hill, the reaction then runs on its own. The amount of energy needed to get to the top of the hill is called the activation energy. An enzyme reduces the size of this hill. This makes it easier to get to the top of the hill and for the reaction to proceed. If an enzyme helps a chemical reaction occur, it's called an enzyme-mediated reaction. The substances or reactants an enzyme acts upon are called substrates. Substrates bind to an enzyme at its active site. At this point, the enzyme will break a substrate apart if it's a catabolic reaction, or it will bond substrates together if it's an anabolic reaction. There are three factors that will slow down or speed up an enzyme-mediated reaction. Those three factors are environmental conditions, cofactors and coenzymes, and enzyme inhibitors. Extreme temperatures are very dangerous to enzymes. High temperatures may denature or unfold an enzyme. When enzymes denature, they can no longer function. pHs that are too low or acidic, or too high or basic, can also denature enzymes. Most enzymes prefer a pH between 6 and 8 that is near neutral. There are exceptions, however, like the enzymes in your stomach that prefer low pHs. Remember that inorganic minerals called cofactors and organic vitamins called coenzymes are sometimes needed for proper active site formation and enzymatic activity. For example, iron must be present in the protein hemoglobin in our blood cells for it to pick up oxygen. This diagram shows that cofactors or coenzymes might be necessary to form the active site of enzymes. If you want to slow down or stop an enzyme from working, you can use an enzyme inhibitor. There are two types of enzyme inhibitors. Competitive inhibitors are chemicals that resemble an enzyme substrate and compete with it for the active site. Non-competitive inhibitors are inhibitors that do not enter the active site, but bind to another part of the enzyme, causing the enzyme to change its shape, which in turn alters the active site and prevents normal binding of the substrate.